Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA veteran Anthony Ruiz. Anthony, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good. No problem. Thanks for doing it. Anthony, you got a fight coming up at Tachi Palace Fights 15 on November 15. How's training been going for the fight?
Training's going good, man. I've got a good camp. I've had plenty of time to train. It's another fight, another championship fight, so it'll be, if it goes the distance, it'll be 5 rounds, so I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. Are you just training at Dethrone Base Camp, or are you training other places as well?
I'll go to San Jose and train with the guys there at the AKA. They got Cain Velasquez and from John Fitch and people like that. And then here at Dethrone we got LeVar Johnson there now. He's been showing his face there. He's good to spar with. Not very much fun, but he's good to spar with. We got Koscheck there, and Koscheck brings in a lot of guys from all over the United States to train. So mainly Dethrone.
Mm. How long have you been training there?
I've been there for about 2 years since he opened. I believe it's been about 2 years. He's had I knew him from training at AKA in San Jose.
Sure.
And so when he opened this gym over here, he told me about it, and I did what I could to get people in there, and he's a good friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned LeVar Johnson, but who else is there specifically helping you for this fight?
There's as far as their names go, I don't really know. I know like their first name. There's a couple guys named Chris. He's brought in some guys that he wrestled with in Pennsylvania, and so they're there right now. And so it's just hit and miss,
Mm-hmm.
But Koscheck and LeVar Johnson are probably the bigger names there,
Mm-hmm. On the show Fight Factory, they went around the gym and documented all the stuff that was going on during the early days of that camp. But what's your role with the team? Are you a coach, or are you just a fighter who trains there? Because in the beginning of the show, they were showing that Koscheck was having trouble finding guys to coach at Dethrone Base Camp.
Well, no, I'm not a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fighter, so I just go there to train.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a firefighter, so in order, I can't devote every day to go into the gym and try to coach. But I get there 4 days a week. I'm also about 40 minutes away from Dethrone, so 3 days a week I'm firefighting, and then the other 4 days I get to hit the gym up. So it's hard sometimes. I also got a family. I'm married. I got 2 kids. So I gotta learn to juggle.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to be cornering you for this fight?
Josh is going to be cornering me.
Mm-hmm. And who are some of your other coaches that you're working with there?
There's a guy named Mike. There's a guy named Tom Seymour. As far as jiu-jitsu goes, once a month, Dave will come in. Dave Camarillo, that's Josh's jiu-jitsu coach.
Yep.
Yeah, no real big names as far as coaches. There's they got a lot of technique they're showing me. It's being a fighter, it's like an ongoing thing. Every day I got to work on my technique, because you get in and you just want to bang, you just want to let your hands go, and I'm constantly working on just staying calm and using my brain rather than my bronze, So even the the coaches that are new to the game, I can still get a lot from. Mm-hmm. So it's Dethrone has been a blessing to me.
You've been in this sport a very long time. Are you still learning new techniques, or is it just now at this stage of your career just polishing what you already have?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. There's basically if you don't train it enough, then you'll forget some things. So it's basically a matter of like reminding me. Oh yeah, there's also this to go. And there's it's like when you're rolling around, you're doing jiu-jitsu and that. There's always an offense and there's always a defense to the offense, and there's so much of it that if you're not going over it day by day, then you're going to lose some of it. And with the family and that, I could do cardio and that every day, but it's if I would say if I'm lacking anything, it's technique. So I learned. I'm still learning, even though I've done it for 10 years now. I still learn. I mean, there's always room to grow as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. Now to the fight, your opponent Angel Deanda. How much do you know about him?
I know he's a stand-up guy. I know he likes to bang. He's not going to try to take me down. He's shorter than I am. So I'll have a reach advantage on him. I'll also have a cardio and conditioning advantage on him, just because that's kind of my specialty. So he's going to try to come in and he's going to try to throw punches, and I'm going to exchange with him. I'm going to try that as long as I can, and if he's hit me, then I'm going to take him down and ground and pound him. But I know he's dangerous. I know he's got heavy hands. Pretty much everyone I'm fighting nowadays has heavy hands. So
right.
I mean that's kind of the norm. So yeah, I know he's dangerous, and I know he's going to try to finish me early because of my cardio, and so I'll just take it. Mm-hmm. Take it each punch at a time.
Mm-hmm. He said he's going to knock you out. I'm sure at this stage in your career you've heard that 1,000 times over again. Does it kind of make you laugh a little bit hearing that over and over again? Because you're a guy who's known for being able to absorb punishment.
Absolutely, man. It's I've never been knocked out, so and I've been hit by the best. So I mean, to hear someone say they're going to knock me out, they've got something going on in their head or something. They think they're going to be able to do something that everyone else couldn't. So, which is fine, you know what I mean? Yeah, but the chances of him knocking me out are slim to none. Like I said, he's going to have to worry about my cardio, and he's not going to get the knockout.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that your length, your height, because he's only 5'8", you're 6'2", your height and your length, is that your biggest advantage, or is it possibly that you've been 5 rounds before and it should it go into that deep water, he hasn't been there, you have? Is that your biggest advantage, or what is your biggest advantage, do you think, in this fight?
I would say my biggest advantage is my experience. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I've had several 5-round fights. I know exactly how to train for them. I know, there's the right ways to train and there's the wrong ways. And I've done it enough to where I figured out the right ways. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to work in my circuit training to make it just like the real thing. And then on top of that, I've got my cardio. I know I've said it 5 times already. I've got the cardio advantage, and I've got the reach advantage. So, but I'm still not saying that he can't come in and land a good punch. I'm not taking anything away from him, but chances are he's going to take a loss this fight.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that this is going to be for the 205 belt for Tachi Palace. Do you see yourself flip-flopping between 205 and 185, or have you closed the door on 185? Because we've seen fighters like a Dan Henderson who, as they get older, the guys who have the ability to fight in two weight classes, they usually pick the higher weight class as they get up there in age and don't really want to cut weight. Have you closed the door on 185, or could we see you there again?
No, I'd love to fight at 185. I'll fight at 185, 205. I've had
heavyweight fights?
I've had probably 10 heavyweight fights. I've had like 2 super heavyweight fights where the commission has approved it, even though the weights are like 50-pound differences, And so I'll pretty much fight at any weight class that I can, as long as the money's there. And, I love doing this, but I also do it for the money. And so, if someone wants to pay me to fight at 185, I'm going to do it.
When you're fighting an up-and-coming guy... Oh, go ahead.
I also feel pretty strong at 185. I know it is a big cut. If I have like a full 3 months to do it, and I can do it right, then I feel a lot stronger than my opponent. And, I'm taller, I'm stronger, because when I weigh in at 185, I end up getting my weight back up to 207 by the time the fight comes around, which is the next day, 24 hours later. So I have a huge advantage there. And when I'm able to do it right, I don't get tired. So that's 185 is always an idea for me. So
when you're fighting an up-and-coming guy like Angel is, do these fights, do they seem a little bit more dangerous? Because, you've fought guys who, are big names and, probably on paper a better fighter than he is, but does it make these fights more dangerous? Because maybe, who knows, maybe this guy is the next big thing. Do these fights, when you're not fighting that well of a known guy, are they a little bit more dangerous, do you feel like?
Sometimes. Sometimes. I know they got nothing to lose, so they're willing to make, they're willing to make mistakes, and so they're willing to put their neck out on the line, and sometimes it works out for them. When the fight starts, all that kind of gets out of your head, and you just focus on winning. And I think I would fight him the same way I would fight a world champion. So I would say no.
You fought for Tachi Palace in the past, and then you went away for a little bit and fought in some other shows. Now you're back with them. Did they owe you a fight, or is this a completely new contract?
It's a completely new contract. Yeah, I've always stayed in good with Tachi Palace. I've never done them wrong. They've never done me wrong. And they've always took care of me, and I appreciate that. And I'll fight for them as long as I can.
Does it mean anything to you to be fighting in the main event, or is a fight just a fight, and regardless of where you're on the card, it doesn't really matter to you?
Well, like my last 10 fights, I've been in the main event, so it doesn't really matter. I would actually rather fight sooner, so then I could watch the rest of the fight. During the fight, I'm not allowed to go out and watch the fight and enjoy it, and so sometimes it sucks having to be the last guy, but that's pretty much the only problem. I don't let it get to my head, or it's pretty much just another fight for me. It's another day in the gym, and I just got to keep my head straight and make the right decisions when I'm in there.
Has the madness for people hitting you up for tickets, has that started yet, or is that going to start as we get closer to the fight?
Yeah, that's started, but it's also pretty much just family and stuff. I'm not Ticketmaster. I've also got guys that are selling tickets for me. I've got Team Ruiz Fight Management. They're on Facebook too. He's doing all my tickets. So if I'm getting tickets, it's for like just my close friends and family. Yeah, I've been down that road before, and I know it's just best to not even think about it. It's not even worth stressing out about. If I sell 10 more tickets than normal, then that's good. If not, who cares, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy fighting? Well, Lemoore, it's kind of like your hometown, basically your hometown. It's pretty close by. Do you enjoy fighting there, or would you prefer to be somewhere else where, you know, you kind of don't have to play promoter, and, you know, there's really, you know, not the home crowd advantage or, you know, disadvantage, as some fighters like to say. Some fighters say that when they fight in front of their home crowd, it actually adds pressure. Do you enjoy fighting it at home, or would you prefer to be somewhere else?
You know, it doesn't really matter. I know it does add a little bit of pressure, but like I said, as soon as you get in there, that pressure leaves. I mean, and my last fight I fought in Russia, I felt the same fighting at the Save Mart Center in Fresno, which is right next to my house, you know. So it doesn't really matter. If you let it get to your head before the fight, then it can make a difference, you know. But I'm a vet, you know. I've been there, done that, and, you know, I know that as long as I have prepared myself as best as I can, then I'm pretty confident no matter where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said that you're still open to fighting at middleweight. David Loiseau, he's the middleweight champion for Tachi Palace Fights. He said he wants to come back and defend that title. Should you win this fight, would you be interested in fighting him, and would you be interested in that title?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of fight I want to. I would rather have someone that has, you know, he's been there, done that. You know, I'm trying to, you know, we're all trying to make it to the big show, you know. So I think it's people like that, beating people like that, that will get me there. You know, so I'd love to fight for that belt after this.
Mm-hmm. Would also something that would attract you to that fight is the fact that the middleweight title would be up for grabs, because you fought for the title at Tachi Palace 6, but unfortunately came up short in that fight. Is that another reason why you would take that fight?
Not really. You know, I've got I'm out to collect some belts right now. I've got 2 belts. I've got the Pure Combat middleweight belt. I've got the West Coast 205 belt. I'm after this Tachi Palace belt. You know, I'm like I said, I'm trying to make it to the big show. I've only got a few more years left, and so, you know, if I get a little collection of belts, you know, maybe they'll ask me to come. You know, that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say the big show, you obviously mean the UFC. That's obviously your goal is to make it there. If you don't make it there, you know, let's say worst case scenario, you don't make it there, would you feel that your career would be incomplete?
No. I feel like I'm above and beyond right now. I've been so blessed, and you know, if my career ended right now, I would be happy with it. You know, I'm motivated and I'm hungry. You know, and it's you know, it's always since the UFC came out. I believe it was like in '92. You know, I've been pretty heavy follower since then. So, you know, it'd be my dream. Mm-hmm. Not really because I would make that much more money, but it's just in my head, I think. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's just a goal. You know, it's I feel like I'm doing all right now as far as getting paid goes. So you know, we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. 2 things I want to end on. The first thing is, I've always been curious. You fought, you know, a who's who of fighters in MMA, guys like Vladimir Metsashenko, Trevor Prangley, Jiva Santana, Gerald Harris, Alexander Shlemenko. The list goes on and on. Who's the best guy you've ever fought?
I would say Gerald Harris. Mm-hmm. Just because of his wrestling. His wrestling is just so good that there was pretty much nothing I can do. Mm-hmm. You know, with Alexander Shlemenko, you know, he's you know, he's heavy-handed. He landed a bunch of punches on me. He actually did more damage to me than Gerald Harris. But you know, for some reason, Gerald Harris is just a phenomenal athlete, and I mean, I couldn't really throw a punch because he would take me down from it, and so I would say he had the most skill. I would say Alexander Shlemenko
Yeah, in that Harris fight, it looked like, the way your stance was, it looked like you were in pure wrestling defense mode. You seemed to take you out of your game. Is that a fair observation of that fight?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what happened. I'm used to letting him go and throwing a bunch of haymakers and, making for an exciting fight. And I think he just, with his takedown skills, I didn't want none of it, and I forgot I was in a fight. It's like I was wrestling the whole time. It made for a boring fight, but, he got the W, so it's just one of them things,
Mm-hmm. And the last thing I wanted to end on, some of the databases, they have your nickname as El Toro. Some of the databases have your nickname as A-Train. Set the record straight. What's the nickname you're going by now?
My nickname is A-Train.
Mm-hmm.
Both nicknames were given to me by different teammates and fans. I didn't make neither of them, but they both kind of mean the same thing. Like El Toro, like the bull that just moves forward. And same thing with A-Train. I go forward no matter how many punches I'm taking. So it's kind of the same thing. But as of now, I'm the A-Train.
Mm-hmm. Anthony, Tachi Palace fights 15, November 15th. How does the fight end?
It's going to end with a TKO ref stoppage in the second round with ground and pound.
Mm-hmm. Anthony, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I like to say to the fans, come on out. November 15th is going down. This guy says he's going to knock me out, but it's obviously not going to happen. I'd like to give a shout out to 5150 Energy Drink. They're my main sponsor, and Team Ruiz Fight Management. The guys done a lot for me.
Anthony, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck November 15th at Tachi Palace Fights 15 against Angel Dienda.
Right on. Thanks for having me, bud.